Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and we have returned after a little bit of a break, and we are going to talk today about New Year's resolutions or template upgrades. Which one are we getting? Are we getting a clue from our soul about what we're supposed to do, or are we creating something from our human ego to do? So we're going to dissect that a little bit. Because this is the time of year when our human wants to call them New Year's resolutions, right? We're going to do something totally different, or we're going to pick up an old timeline. I'm going to call it pick up an old timeline. We're going to go back and do something that we might have stopped doing, whether it's going to the gym or whether it's, talking to someone you haven't talked to in a while. We're going to re-enter an old timeline. I prefer picking up an old timeline from a different frequency. Stuff we kind of let set for a while because we didn't have the consciousness to fix it, So when we're in a lot of these passageways, gateways going into a new linear year, which we got our codes for and our templates for back, even in August, we were getting a lot of our codes and templates for the next year. It was unlocking in your DNA. So remember, a lot of the stuff everything we've done, we've already done. I mean, everything we're going to do, we've already done. Everything we've done a zillion times. Everything that we are supposed to do, we've already done. So nothing you're going to do this year is something you haven't done already, which takes a lot of the pressure off as to where we're going in 2025. But it's a pivotal year for all the collectives. It's a pivotal year for... It's the 12th, going into the 12th, 13th year after the 2012 gateway. So it's just a big year no matter where you are in your process, no matter where you are in your ascension, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be a big year for everybody. And no matter depending on where you are, it's going to affect everyone differently. So don't get so bogged down on what you see to do. Look more at why you feel to do it. So how do you determine, which I'm going to loop back around. Looping back around. How do you determine if it's a New Year's resolution from the ego, or is this a soul command? Is this something from your soul saying, no, you have to do this? This is the year you have to do this. How do you know the difference? Our human's going to try to create a goal for us. And I was going to actually I don't love this shirt, and I was going to change it, and I kept getting, no, this is the one you got to wear for this video. This feels right, because it's black and white. It's a very gray area. It's neither one nor the other. Everything you're going to see to do is going to have a little bit of both in it. There was a line in the Marvel movie on Infinity War, and it was kind of a funny line where one of the characters said, what master do you serve? Trying to figure out what side the other one was on. He's like, what master do you serve? So look at, what does it serve? Does it serve you? Does it serve humanity? Does it serve your human consciousness? Does it serve the external focus? Does it serve your internal you? That's what you want to focus on. What master are you serving? Are you serving your soul? Are you serving your ego? What master does it serve? Because sometimes you're going to be shown to do things, and it's going to be things you don't want to do. If your human doesn't want to do them, it's more or less going to be coming from the soul. It's something you need to do this year. Whether it's reconnect with certain people, re-enter old timelines, but from a different space. You don't want to re-enter a timeline from a fear of you not being able to have the timeline again, or losing the timeline, or losing the people in it, losing the opportunities in it. If you do decide to go back and re-enter a timeline, we're going to be re-entering a timeline based on it's time to pick it back up again. So it might be better to even say you're picking up an old timeline again. This is one I started, I didn't finish. I have a couple things I started years ago, and I just had to put them aside because I got onto other realities and onto other things, and I never had a chance to come back and finish it. And I kind of see now why. A lot of times we have to pick up more information along the way to make things a little bit easier. So when we get back to these things, it's easier for us to kind of, map them out. It's easier for us to break them down. What do we need to do? What skill set did I not have before? What has helped me kind of get more prepared? What have I busted through? Our human programming keeps us from doing a lot of stuff. So no matter what you feel called to do, don't focus on what it is. No matter how mammoth it is, no matter how small it is, That's not what matters. Most of the soul stuff you're going to be called to do is small stuff. But it can be small stuff, but it feels big. It feels big in the sense can feel scary. It can feel like we have to do these big things. You know, we want to do some of those bigger things than we are doing. A lot of the stuff we go into, and that's why you have New Year's resolutions, right? It's supposed to be a clean slate. That's the biggest thing about the human perception of the new year. To me, I'm starting to see it differently, as where it's just your soul templates are coming in. Are you ignoring what you're supposed to do? Are you trying to sidetrack to do something else? What does it really serve? Who does it serve? Does it serve? Is it very self-serving? You know, is it? Because remember, when we're in the human consciousness, integrity to the human is conforming to the human. It's conforming to what human reality is supposed to be. As long as you're conforming to human realities, you are holding human integrity. So don't get so bogged down on the word integrity in the human form. Don't get so bogged down on, you know, what it is. Look at why you're doing it. Look at the energy behind it. Where is it coming from? Well, who does it serve? I'm going to repeat that a couple of times because I think that's one of the most important things. What is it serving? And there's a lot of things that you could see. Like a lot of people always start the gym. You know, the gym is something a lot of people want to start in the new year. And there's a part of the soul journey where we get really into our bodies and really taking care of our bodies and wanting our bodies to really appreciating it because it does house our souls. So there's part of the journey where you're really into physical fitness and really into your body if you've never been before. There might be other parts of the journey where you want nothing to do with going to the gym because you don't have the energy to do it anymore. Or you might really shift how you do it. So there's so many different iterations of how that resolution can go. You know, there's so many reasons depending on what phase you're in, whether you're going to go or you're not going to go. Or look at when does the resolution start to fall off? Why is it falling off? Because it's too hard? Is your human doesn't want to do it anymore? That's usually the biggest tell, as if this was something I was really supposed to do and I felt driven to do it because my human talked me out of it somewhere around March or April. You know, it got too hard to do. It got too difficult to do. I started believing I couldn't do it. You know, these are just more of the things to look at when you're really setting it. And the whole New Year's resolution is a human thing, you know, because there really is no new year. It's just new templates, new soul things you're supposed to be doing. Technically, everything you do is going to help you later on in your ascension process. It doesn't matter if you're taking the scenic route or you're going straight through. Just one's going to take longer than the other. But look what you're avoiding doing that you really have felt strongly you're supposed to do. There's so many different twists and turns of our ascension journey, and there's so many timelines that I know we do a lot of videos about not going back into timelines. Don't re-enter a timeline. You know, I know I say it tons of times. Don't go back into something because you're afraid you're going to lose it. The same thing here. If we're going to pick up old ones, look at why you're going back. Do you have more information? Do you have more information? Do you feel really called to finish that book or finish that movie or reconnect with someone because you can feel that they might need more assistance than they needed before, and now they're in a different part of their process. But it's not coming from what you thought you lost in that timeline, you know, because there's a lot of New Year's resolutions that either begin and end with your body and doing things to get healthy, or, you know, oh, I'm not going to work so much, or I'm going to work harder. Like I said, it's not the thing. It's why you're doing it, that the energy behind it. What is it serving? Those are the things you want to ask yourself. What is this for? You know, is this for me or is this for something else? Is this for humanity or is this for me? There's lots of parts of this journey where we do things just for ourselves, because if we can't get ourselves and our body into a certain alignment, we cannot affect the field in a sense. We can't do more because we don't have the soul light to do anymore. We're kind of stuck doing just a small amount because that's all we can do, because we don't have the soul light. We haven't focused on our own journey enough. You know, there's a lot of this journey where you're just trying to keep your reality aligned. And for a while, that's kind of easy. And then it gets harder. And that might be what you want to focus on this year. It's aligning realities, keeping them aligned. I used to not understand why all of a sudden it was so hard to keep everything aligned. And and I guess hard's really not the word. It's taking a lot of the day to just align everything every day, keep everything aligned, keep everything the way it was supposed to be. Some of that's when we have other people in our realities, we have to realign everything every day. You have more of a bandwidth to understand when something's not aligned anymore and you want to right away align it. You know, you don't want it to set till the next day. You're like, oh no, I have to fix this now. This is off the rails. I don't want to go any more off the rails. I need to get this done right away. So aligning realities is a big one for a lot of people. You know, in the beginning, we're just trying to align our inner reality. And then we go, oh, now we got to do outside. I just did a whole video on inside versus outside alignment. And that's going to be a big focus for a lot of people this year. But you want to remember, you're aligning things for what's best for the whole group. You know, and when you get to certain parts of ascension, you start to be able to understand that. It's not just what's best for me. How am I affecting everybody else? You know, we have to go into the multiverse at that point. It's not just my soul in here. I'm just not the only universe in here. There's a lot of other universes in here too. How am I impacting the whole? What am I doing for the whole? Am I hampering the whole in some of the things I'm doing? But not the human. You want to make sure you're not trying to hold integrity and conforming to human realities. And if anything you want to do this year is holding integrity to human realities, conforming to human realities, you want to look at why. Now, there's also going to be a lot of twists and turns. Sometimes your soul will do something and tell you to do something, and it does feel like it's conforming, you know, but you're not doing it for that reason. You know, I remember years ago I got a job in Alexandria and I was driving a long, long way, and I remember thinking, oh, and at that point I was deciding whether I wanted to not take a regular job and do, you know, more things like body work and Reiki, and I was into a lot of that intuitive readings and a lot of that stuff back then. It's kind of where it was in my journey. And I was like, do I want to do that? But then I felt really called to you know, this job came up and I'm like, well, you know, because it's the grayness in it, you know, back to the beginning. It's not black or white. It's not, yes, technically a typical job is going to be conforming and supporting a human systems, you know. But there was a part of it where, but it's the gray part. It's you, okay, that's how your human gets you there. Because, okay, you have bills to pay, right? So your human's going to get you to take it because of that. I never would have taken a job in Alexandria if I hadn't gotten, you know, ripped from the other job I had for years. And I wouldn't have been going that far. It was hours of drive from where I lived in Northern Virginia. And anyone who's lived in any big metropolitan area understands that it can be 30 minutes away and it might as well be on the other side of the universe when you're trying to get there during rush hour. So your universe will sometimes get you somewhere because you feel like it's the human thing I'm supposed to do, right? But that's not why you're there. You're there because I was there just because eventually it was going to be a job where I had very little to do and I'd have a lot of time to focus on my internal journey. It was that grayness I couldn't see. You know, the real reason I was there, the sole reason I was there. It had nothing to do with the human reasons I thought I was there. So really look at what you're called to do this year and what you feel pushed to do. And what are the real reasons you're doing it? And ask for those real reasons. What is the thing behind it? Am I conforming because I'm really just trying to conform? But does it feel like it's something I have to do and I can't really maybe see why yet? Most of the things we have to do for our soul journeys, a lot of times we can't see why because our human stuff is in the way. We don't experience life as a soul. We're experiencing life as human consciousness with a soul. But we don't live from our soul. We don't have enough of our soul in our body to experience life as a soul. That's really what ascension is. You're experiencing life as a soul, as purity. That's what that means. You know, so you start experiencing things differently. You start to see it differently. And if you can't see it differently yet, it's just because you haven't cleared enough of the human stuff yet to be able to see how clear, what you're really there for, see the clarity in it. I've said, you know, you can't really look back on something when you're in the middle of it because you can't see anything. It's like when you look around in a forest, you only see the trees around you. You have to kind of get in a plane above the forest to see the whole thing and the layout and why it had to go down that way. So I'm not going to make this super long. I have a couple other videos I'm gonna pop up probably quite a bit at the beginning of the year because I've been taking I've had a bit of a break, but just wanted to come on and share that, and I will see everyone next time. So, okay, keep practicing the art of intuition.